David in Seward, Pennsylvania. Hey, David, what's on your mind?
Uh, good afternoon, Tom. And I had heard this weekend that Trump was signing some kind of executive order against the sanctuary cities.
Right.
And my question is on, can they come back on him and say, well, you're taking away the federal money. We can't protect you when you come to these cities now.
No, you can't. I mean, there may be some kind of retribution that they can do, but it wouldn't take that form. But, law enforcement protects the president if he comes to a city. It's just that simple. But the thing that's so tragic about this, first of all, I don't know if he has signed that or not, and if he has, I don't know what it says. I mean, there's a lot happening really fast here, and I'm not able to catch every little piece of it, and I want to look very carefully at that one. For those people who don't know what we're talking about, though, David, this is a really important issue, and it's an issue that's been demagogued by the right all over the place. There are over 100 cities, I think it's 136 cities in the United States, where local law enforcement and local city councils have looked at the fact that there are people living in their city without documentation, who are, quote, here illegally, and yet they are still human beings. And the very real problem that is caused by this is that if an employer beats an employee, or if an employer refuses to pay an employee, or if an employer rapes an employee, or if a husband beats his spouse or threatens to murder her, if that employee or that spouse is an undocumented immigrant, a person here without documentation, in most of America, they are afraid to dial 911, because if the police show up and say, prove to me that you're a citizen, and they're unable to prove that, they get shipped off to an internment camp, right? They get handed off to ICE. So the idea of the sanctuary cities is, you may have to deal with the immigration, what used to be called the Immigration Nationalization Service. Now, I don't remember what ICE stands for, but whatever it is, you may still have to deal with the feds with regard to immigration. But if you dial 911 because you're in a car accident, if you dial 911 because somebody hurt you, if you dial 911 because you're at risk somehow, you are not going to be deported. You are going to be protected. And that's just a basic human rights issue. And those cities that have passed rules to that effect, telling their police departments, it's not our business what the immigration status is of people living in our city. That's the business of the federal government to enforce. It's not the business of the local governments to enforce. There's no law that says we have to. We're going to choose not to. Those cities have been called sanctuary cities. And yeah, they do provide some sanctuary, but the point is that they're not saying we're going to, provide sanctuary again, so that lawbreakers can live here. It's that we want to make sure that the citizens in our town are protected. So yeah, it's a tough one, and we'll see. David, I'm going to have to read whatever he signs before I can, comment on it at length. But thanks for the call.